I don't understand how people do scripted videos. This sucks to record. I recorded an hour and a half. Mic quality was trash, so I got a new mic. Let's go. Today I'm going to be discussing what I believe are the top 5 most relevant YouTube categories and who to take inspiration from in that specific category and what you would need to succeed in each one. Each one will be structured by starting off with the category name, their honorable mentions of the people in that category who are good, and why a little bit I place them in honorable mentions and not the top 3, and what they could improve on, and they're in no specific order. Then I'll move on to the top 3 people in that category and go into what they do correctly and why I put them where I put them. Then, after all the top 3 are done and stuff, I'll move on to dishonorable mentions of people who are either not good in that category or people who were good at one point in time but have either since been in drama or just stopped posting or fell off. So I'm going to state this right now that for a majority of these people, some of them, I don't mean hate towards any of them unless obviously they deserve it, like they did something really bad, or if I explicitly state it. Another disclaimer is that if you're trying to get into YouTube and you watch this video for advice, here's the most important advice I can give. Don't compare your content to people I list or people that you watch that I may have not list. You're unique in your own way and can shine if you try hard enough, and constantly trying to be like somebody else will only exhaust you, and you probably wouldn't want to do content anymore if you're just like, oh, this guy has 5 million views, but I'm only getting like 8. Anyway, let's begin. The first category is going to be the animation YouTubers. So that's people whose main thing or main content is they draw, they animate, they put it on YouTube. So as a quick honorable mention, I originally had Explosive Entertainment, but I'm going to put Glitch Productions or SMG4 here instead. I'll probably just combine the two, but why didn't I just put Explosive and SMG4? Because I'm lazy, and this is my video. So SMG4 was like the animator back in the 2010s. He was definitely the most popular, especially with like the Gmod or Blender or whatever it was. And he did a bunch of Gmod Mario animations. They weren't the highest quality, but they were definitely funny at the time, and that's what everybody wants. Then he did the thing that I really think helped his channel out a lot. He started making like lore for it. Like, do I care about the backstories of the characters that danced naked in every episode? Not really, but like I'm down to hear it and I'm interested. He did like the Battle of the Stashes or whatever it was called, and that was really good. I remember being hyped for like the 2023 one, I think. And then he took one of his original characters, I think her name was Ari, one of those. It's been a while since I've watched it. And he created his own series on her using the channel Glitch Productions. Now, Glitch Productions has 2 really well-known series and a couple of others, but for the main 2, for a fact, are Murder Drones and The Amazing Digital Circus. Now, I'm not gonna lie, both these shows have their very cringe moments. Like, I've had to turn off my TV or phone and then just put it down for a while. But they also have really great moments. Starting off with Murder Drones, it's definitely the cringier show. Like, without a doubt. It starts off as some edgy dystopian future where all humans are dead and robots are evil, yada yada yada. But then later on in the series, we get backstories and character development that really improves the story. And the final fight scene that they had with Sin, that was really peak. I really liked the music in that. I think I was gonna add it into my playlist, but I didn't because I was just like, yeah, I'm good off that. Moving on to the Digital Circus. I don't know what's going on. I have no clue. I haven't watched a lore video in like forever, but I can't wait for more. Like, currently they just dropped episode 7 and there was a lot. There was so much stuff. And yeah, there are some insufferable characters. There's some in every show, but not only are they giving those characters like reasons to be terrible, which they haven't revealed yet, but like I'm not going to be shocked if they're just like a valid reason, but they're also like really good at making me feel sympathetic for them, and that's a really good sign of great storytelling. Also, they hate on Kane too much. I like Kane. I like the little teeth man. It's not his fault that they're stuck there. But anyway, SMG4 and Glitch Productions are both amazing animation channels, and they connect with a lot of people to get the voice actors and other stuff. If you want to get to that level, you'll probably have to be able to do a lot of stuff. Like, you got to create characters, write an original story, possibly animate and voice act. That sounds like a lot of stuff, but it's really just having the ability to hire people to either do those things for you or help you out with it. Moving on, honorable mention number 2 would be like any manga animators or people who animate fight scenes from mangas that aren't out in the anime. Now, these people have amazing animation and they're extremely talented, but the only thing I would say that they lack is originality. They take existing characters or existing fights and animate them in their own style, which is great. It almost always looks amazing. But something that already exists, it's not like new or original. That's the only reason why they're an honorable mention. For example, with JJK fan animators, they take fights like the Gojo versus Sukuna fight, or the Todo and Yuji versus Sukuna fight, and animate them, and they look amazing. But the thing is, it's not their original characters or their fights that are taking place. Like Gege, he already did that fight in the manga, and it'll be animated in like 2035 by this pace. But either way, it's just not original. And as long as the anime doesn't mess it up, the anime will definitely be better than the fan fights. Like, I think I saw one where it was like Yuta versus Yuji, and that, like, and the movie just came out. The movie looks so much better than that, and I hope that they continue to do that for the rest of it. But the individuals are very talented, and if they created their own original fights and characters, they could definitely make top 3. But for now, they're just getting an honorable mention. Now, time for the number 3 ranking, which I'm going to give to Moro. If you don't know or haven't seen any of Moro's content, they're the creator of Indie Cross, which is a combination of universes of multiple indie games. And what separates Moro from the last honorable mentions is that all the fights are original and they look great. Like, Moro took time and did the research to fully understand what each character was capable of within their universe, and they explore them perfectly with their animation. They did have to nerf some of the boys, my knight, to make it so that they didn't like one-shot or destroy all the characters Moro created to be the enemies, but overall the series is great, and I'm very excited to see more from them. If you want to get into animation but still want to use characters that people know and love, Moro is how you do it correctly. Because all those characters are recognizable, but you put them in your own style, give them like their personalities, and then you just put them into your own stuff. Number 2, the animation tubers, I'm going to give to Jail Panazzola. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but they're also known as Jakey. Jakey is the creator of the Underverse series, which is an Undertale fan series combining all the fan-made and canon universes into their own universe. So much like Moro, Jakey takes already existing characters who are recognizable, but combines them with their own original characters and does it really well. Like their entire Underverse series with their Underverse Kara and Sans, I love all those characters. And the fight scenes and overall animation and story of Underverse are just top tier. And low-key, I would watch an actual series on it. But I would say that's what people should strive for when it comes to like complex animation. Even if you're not an Undertale fan, I would definitely say the series is worth a watch. The reason why they're placed above Moro is because I'm not dissing Moro at all. The animation that Jakey does is better. Moro has amazing animation, but I would definitely rank Jakey higher. And then 2, Jakey's storytelling is completely original, and while they might take characters from like actual Undertale, Underfell, Underswap, they put their own unique twist on them all and give them all their own, like, yeah, the personalities are in universe, but they develop them really well. And then 3rd and finally, they added their own characters into the universe, which made them more recognizable, probably up there with Underfell and Underswap, which are definitely the most 2 recognizable universes in the Undertale fandom. So what you should take from them is the ability to make your own story while still having amazing animation. And then if you don't want to, or you can't, because somehow you're not imaginative enough, you can't make your own characters, they're a great example of how to use someone else's character and then still make it unique to your content. Finally, the first place of animation is definitely going to be Jaden Animations. I'm kidding. It's Alan Becker. In my opinion, he's the one that you should take the most from if you want to get into being an animation YouTuber, because he was somehow able to make stick figures have personalities, a unique storyline, and all without them being like extremely overpowered for the most part. He's been doing stick figure animations for almost 20 years. Like that first animation versus whatever it's called is almost 20 years old. Like that's almost older than I am. And even his older stuff is still so well animated, especially for its time, and it still has a great story. Not only that, but he still didn't forget his roots because he keeps bringing characters back. I don't know how much he planned, but he did good. He did really good on this story. And then he somehow puts so much emotion and hype into his animations. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if it gets revealed that he's actual stick figures living in his computer. Because there's so much that you could take from Alan and put into your own animations. First of all, the animation. It looks so good. It looks so great. Each of his characters has their own unique fighting style and personality, despite all literally looking the same. Like, besides Orange, of course. But they do it great. His character Green has some of the smoothest and coolest fighting animations I've ever seen, even from actual anime companies. Looking at you, Blue Lock Season 2. Secondly, his story. Every character is original, even though they all look the same, of course. And he has two main stories that he goes back and forth between, and they're both great. I love animation versus Minecraft, and I love animation versus... I keep forgetting. I don't remember the name right now, but it's whatever. The animation versus Minecraft uses the Minecraft universe, but still makes it unique enough because they aren't players. So obviously, mechanically, they would be able to do different stuff than like what the average player would be able to do in the Minecraft universe. If Stickman actually were in Minecraft, Alan and his team did an amazing job of like what they would be like and how they would work. Third and finally, his music choices are really good. The Versus King Pigstep remix fits so well that I don't think any other song would have been as hype or fitting for that scene. And then the music speaks because the characters can't. Like, these guys do not talk at all, besides occasionally through text, but they don't have voices. And they convey so much emotion despite them being silent. Alan is probably the peak of animation on YouTube, and I feel like that's just a fact. He's been doing it for so long, and he's still so good at it. Even though he does have a whole team now, which definitely makes his job easier, but he started it all. If you want to be like Alan, you really just got to be determined. He's been doing this for 20 years, and he's still amazing at what he does. Everyone starts somewhere, and he started really simple, and then he kept ramping up the volume of his animations and the quality, and they're just great. If you keep at it, you'll continue to improve and get more recognition, and then you might be able to start your own stick figure empire. I know Alan doesn't do all of his own animations anymore because he has his team, but he started out as one person with a computer and a drawing pad. If you don't have a computer, get one, and if you do, there's nothing stopping you from animating. Like, he does stick figures. He has classes on how to animate. So if you want to start and you want to be like him, just do it. Take some of his classes. And then moving on to the first dishonorable mention out of many, not for this category, just overall, is going to be Alan Bow. Yeah, I figured out his name like before I wrote the script. I just rewrote it, and holy, not only are most of his animations traced, but they're also just wild as hell. That Agito one that he just did, I'm not showing because I don't want to get banned off of YouTube, but he gave something that shouldn't have had jiggle physics, like a lot of jiggle physics. You should go look at it because I don't want to show it. But not to mention, a lot of his stuff is traced from a lot of animes. Like I know he did Naruto, he did JJK, My Hero, and then he somehow traced from Uma Musume. I don't know how he did that. Like, that's the last show I would expect to be traced from, but that show's peak. So, am I hating on him? A little. Like, I can't do anything of the sort. Like, I'm terrible at drawing, and I definitely couldn't animate, but I know tracing other people's art, even if it's like a really big studio, is just lame. Like, that's not cool, especially in the art communities. Other than that, though, the voice acting he puts in his stuff, or like his quote unquote original scenes, is also just really bad. Like that one Megami voice clip that I see everywhere, and then Gojo's hair flying back.
Watches while I am cutting their body into pieces and eating their heart out. Knowing that you died and did nothing, Sensei.
That just, I don't know why he added that. It added nothing to the story, and it looked really bad. Other than that, though, I don't think he's the worst creator like of all time, even though he traces, because here's someone worse. Camila Caveus. So I loved Glitch Tale as a kid, and it had good enough animation, but it was like 2016, so I'm not going to shit on it. It was decent for its time. But then it just became a Mary Sue, I think that's what it's called, of how I can make my OC hella overpowered and have them kill everyone in the verse. That's literally all I got from the entire series, especially after rewatching it. So they realized their story was ass, and then they just kept pulling ass pull after ass pull after ass pull to continue the story. Whatever the Blue Soul's mom name, I don't remember her name. I think it was Jessica. She had great character development. I really like that because she used to hate monsters, and then she was with Gaster, and then she was just like, oh, monsters aren't so bad. And then they just killed her. Like, I get, you kill off characters, add some stakes to it, but like, why put so much time and effort into that character, making them a better person just to die? I don't write stories, so that doesn't sound too bad now that I'm saying it out loud, but it's basically just the one character that was slightly likable you killed. And then she could have been saved easily too. That's what really pisses me off about this, because Gaster is basically a fucking OC. Like, besides Delta Rune, he has no feats. Even in Undertale, he's no feats. But he's basically an OC, and he definitely could have done something. I don't remember what happened. They got like trapped under a rock, and he might have gotten shot by an anti-monster gun. But that was stupid. Anyway, they had the Aura Master Frisk. Frisk was so cool in so many of their fights. Like when they locked in against Betty, that was sick. I loved that as a kid. And then they just swapped them out for Chara's nerfed ass. Like in season 1, Chara was the main villain, and they were cool as fuck. That fucking hate shit that they had all over them, that was so sick. I love that. And then when they swapped with Frisk, due to somehow plot, it was really stupid. There was no reason for it. They were just lame, and they had a terrible haircut. It was awful. The hair, I couldn't focus on the plot because the hair was terrible. And then the plot, I know it's called Glitch Tale, but Plot Armor Tale probably would have been a better name than Glitch Tale, because they aren't the same thing. Kara was on their last life, died, got the item that would let them save Azrael, and then somehow got brought back to life and had the item. That's not a glitch. That's just really bad writing. And then speaking of Azrael, not only was he brought back due to bullshit to begin with, but then he got Sans killed in the dumbest way possible just to die in the next episode. So Sans, if you never played Undertale, he has blue magic, which lets him move people in any direction he wants, up, down, left, right, whatever you want. And then he decides to teleport in front of Azrael to get him out of the way of Betty's spear, and then gets his soul taken and dies. And then he's brought back later and then killed again. The writing in their story was genuinely just so ass, on top of very mid animation. On top of that, Camilla's just a really shitty person. Like, they were involved in so much drama, and then I wouldn't hesitate to call them human garbage. Saying you don't deserve an apology for being groomed might be the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. I'm not even gonna hold you. And if you want to hear all about it, I'll leave a link in the description to definitely Bored Orange's video on the drama, because that's how I got up to date on the drama for what they did. Genuinely, don't watch anything they have posted, and we shouldn't give people like that any support or platform, even if it's one view, because they get paid for that. Overall, what you need to succeed in the animation field is originality, either talent or the drive to improve, great art, animation, and the ability to get out of motion, even if it's hard to display in your work. And if you're gonna write an original story for your stuff, make sure it's good. Have a family friend read over it, or like get other people's opinion online. Just don't do what Camilla did. That's all I gotta say. The next category I'm covering is the gameplay tubers, who are either the Let's Players or people whose main content is solo stuff, and they don't really do a lot of group collabs or whatever the heck. The first honorable mention I'm gonna put is Corey X Kenshin. Now, Corey probably could have made the top 3 if 1, I watched him enough, and 2, he had a consistent upload schedule. I looked at his page earlier when I was editing this the first time, and he has been more consistent on uploads, I'll give him that, but I'm not trying to have him go on another year break to Japan or wherever he went. And I know he was taking a partial break because he was in the FNAF 2 movie. If you haven't seen it, sorry, it's not a spoiler, but he's in it. Other than that, his humor and gameplay is funny and entertaining, and I really enjoy his fourth wall breaking. Like, whenever I know there's a clip where he sneezes and then he's just like, "Say bless you." I find that entertaining. Personally, like I said earlier, I haven't watched a lot of Corey, but I do think he still deserves an honorable mention. The next mention I'm going to put is Poofesher, whose main content is playing like old Wii or Nintendo games. And he's the most unlucky or just worst player I've ever seen in my life. He loses to NPCs, and he has the most valid crash outs that I think I've ever seen in my life, and they're so funny. Normally, I don't like people who does loud equals funny, but he's not doing it just to like yell. He's doing it because he's actually angry about it, and he breaks a lot of stuff. Like, I have this habit where I just like take a break, but when I was younger, I used to just like destroy things, put holes in walls, that type of stuff. He's a grown man, and he just does that consistently. I think he's gone through like 30 Wiimotes. He breaks a lot of stuff. So that's why I put him as the next honorable mention, because he's one of the louder YouTubers that are still funny with their content. And then the third honorable mention is going to be Pong Sifu, who I think his editing really enhances his content very much. Like, I always love videos that have a lot of effort put into them, and his videos have a lot of effort put into him. He edits animations and like memes into his videos, which make the videos a lot more entertaining. But on top of that, even without the editing, he's just really funny. Like, I like his one-liners that he puts in his like solo videos. And then I know for a fact that I've watched his Among Us video like 5 or 6 times. I was about to say 6 or 7, but then I realized I'm not 8. So I've watched his Among Us video like 5 or 6 times. Really good video. Love the edits in that video. That's actually the first video of his that I watched too. So the edits enhance the video, and they always catch people's attention, and they boost the rewatchability of the video by a lot, in my opinion. Okay, this is my 6th attempt at recording this specific part. Honorable mention number 4 is going to be Alpharad. I'm only re-recording it because my PC kept on making little notification sounds, and it was making me angry. So Alpharad. He definitely deserves an honorable mention. I like all of his videos. He does mostly Nintendo stuff, but instead of like Mario, I'd say he's more of a Pokemon, even though he definitely started out as like Smash Bros and therefore Mario. But I enjoy all of his videos. I remember specifically his Sonic Frontiers modded video, and then when he was able to play it early access. I like those 2 videos a lot, and I like all of his new Pokemon videos, so I'd say he's more of a Pokemon YouTuber, but I enjoy all of his stuff. He's a good way of getting reviews on like seeing if a game is good or not, because I believe I watched him play Legends Arceus, and that's the entire reason why I got that game. So also his editing, I really like his editing. It adds a lot to the video, kind of like Pong Sifu, but yeah, fourth honorable mention. And then finally getting on to the top three. Third place I'm going to give to that dude Jay from the Cub Scouts. He's one of the funniest YouTubers on the platform, most definitely, and he covers all the bases. He plays a bunch of horror games, but also plays like really stupid horror games that would make anyone laugh. He played one called The Booty Cheek Creek Freak, and that game, so dumb, so funny. I loved it. He also has probably one of the most contagious laughs I've heard today.
I gotta see that again. That's too cute. Oh, don't do it to him. Don't give it to him. Come on.
And he's very memeable. He's the peanut or done guy, and the yeah, I'd cry if I was a little bitch.
So sad. Poor F. Is what I would say if I was a little bitch.
I like him. He's basically Corey Kenshin, but with a lot better upload schedule and, in my opinion, a lot better content too. And what he does great is all natural. His laugh and his gameplay, because he's not amazing at games, but the type of games that he plays fits his skill really well, and he doesn't discriminate either. He'll play games like Alien Isolations, or he'll play games like Roblox. Sometimes he'll play a serious game and then get scared like a bitch, but he also does really stupid funny games that enhance the humor with the things he says. However, the only shortcoming I would say that he has is that he only does solo content. I'd like to see him play with others, because he used to play with other people a lot and do a lot of collabs, but in recent years I have not seen him play with other people like at all. Second place, I'm going to give to the Game Grumps. They're definitely some of the funniest YouTubers, and they've been doing YouTube for a while, like I think 15 years. If you don't know, Aaron and Dan play games together on the channel, and they're on the same couch, like in person. The reason why I'm giving them second is because they're probably the best duo on YouTube, hands down. The games they play, they always somehow find a way to make it so funny and entertaining, no matter how dumb the game is or how serious the game is or what they're playing. They do a perfect combination of long series and short series. I think they've had series up to like 150 episodes. Like they know how to mix it up. And with all of their long series, they make jokes that somehow like never lose their humor throughout the series. It'll be the same dumb joke over and over and over again, but I never stop finding it funny. Even if the series is over 100 episodes, they still make it entertaining all the way to the end, no matter how tired they seem of it. Basically, Sonic Boom. If you haven't watched that, go watch it. But this is not only because there are two of them, but also because they bounce jokes off each other really well, and it just keeps making them funnier and funnier. A reason for this is because they've both taken comedy classes and improv classes to learn how to carry a conversation from nothing and then turn that into humor and jokes. They're also some of the only YouTubers to successfully create actually good music that doesn't make my ears want to bleed. There's so many YouTubers that try it and fail. They actually do it. Starbomb, great. I like all their songs. Danny being in a band before he joined Game Grumps, and Aaron creating Starbomb with Danny and others in their office led to them making songs about various video games that are catchy. But me personally, I wouldn't put any of them in my playlists. Like, if that comes on during a car ride, I'm skipping it immediately. But solo, gladly listen. Their success comes from being close friends and the constant joking back and forth. If you have someone you're close to and can keep making jokes almost constantly, ask them to make a channel with you. They're the type of person that you should make a channel with. Taking classes to help with your improv and jokes would also definitely help you immensely. And then first place is going to go to Jacksepticeye and Markiplier. I know someone was going to comment, no Markiplier, list is invalid. So you, get out of my comment section. The reason I had these two in a tie is because they were basically having YouTube as their bitch for like the entire 2010s. Mark, with every single one of his FNAF playthroughs and humor, so good, so peak, and they were extremely rewatchable. I've definitely rewatched his Sister Location playthrough at least like 10, 20 times. And then Jack, I remember watching his I think it was Sarah's Missing and Simulacra videos. Love those. His Happy Wheels and Kindergarten playthroughs were also extremely entertaining. Personally, I definitely watched Mark a lot more than Jack, but I'd still put them as a tie because in real life, they're both like the nicest and funniest people, and they both love their fans and their jobs. They both have consistent upload schedules. I think they've died down because they both used to do daily uploads, but they've definitely like dialed back on that for their mental health, which I agree, you should do that. Markiplier has even done so well for himself that he's currently making a movie. Iron Lung, I think it's coming out soon. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm gonna go see it. Because one, as Markiplier, two, the game that was made was so good. So these two are the classic of classic YouTubers, and they still hold up to this day. I love Markiplier's Try Not to Last. I love all of Jacksepticeye's videos. I can't think of anyone who should get the crown of in the place of #1 over the king of FNAF and the man with the Septic Eyes. I'm cutting that out. You'll never hear this. Dishonorable mention #1 would probably be Cryotic. Now, I cannot lie. I liked his content back in the day before he was problematic. It was purely gameplay with him occasionally chiming in, and I found it really entertaining. His first playthrough I watched was his Soma playthrough, and Soma, such a good game. I can't really watch anyone else play it because that was the first time I watched it. That was my introduction to the game, and it's kind of ruined to me. And then he had a mental breakdown on a Twitch stream, which isn't anything like unusual or like you should be ashamed about. People have mental breakdowns, right? But then he disappeared from the internet, and then it came out that he was a groomer and an abuser. So on top of mid content, he's just a shit person, and I'm giving him this dishonorable mention because I'm glad he's off the internet, and I hope he doesn't come back. That's the only dishonorable mention I have for this category, actually. So with solo videos, you have to be good at doing your own thing, like being on your own, or play games that are entertaining if you can't talk throughout the entire thing. Being on your own involves being able to talk about a majority of things, or being able to talk about the game and make it more entertaining. Then this is one a lot of people trying to be YouTubers struggle with. You gotta be funny, or at least like, if you're not funny, you gotta have something that makes you unique. Like, you have to be able to make people laugh or keep them captivated with your video by just either showing funny moments or like making an essay like I'm doing. A mistake a lot of people, including myself, make is keeping non-funny stuff in the video. Your video doesn't have to be just jokes or like highlights from your thing or whatever you're playing, but unless something isn't funny or important to the story, you should probably cut it out and then add something else in that gap instead. Because moments of pure silence in videos make the video less entertaining and give people a reason to just be like, I'm gonna go watch something else. I hate putting silence in my videos, so that's why every time I play a game, I try to be constantly talking unless I'm focused. If you are focused on something, I guarantee people will not mind if you're not talking. So the next category is a real fucking doozy. I'm not even gonna lie, because this is the biggest one, also the most problematic category on YouTube, and it's the Minecraft YouTubers. So with this one, I'm just doing like normal mentions. These people aren't honorable or dishonorable because I truly don't know how to feel about these people, because they had good content, but either had drama or something came out and it was just like, ooh, that's real weird, but it wasn't like problematic. So the first mention is going to be popular MMOs. So Pat and Jen, this is mostly about Pat content. At the start of his channel was peak. It was probably the most entertaining Minecraft at the time. The Lucky Blocks, the mod showcases, the droppers, everything on his channel, the battle games It was so entertaining, and it kept me captivated as a kid. He was the best Minecraft YouTuber at the time. Like, there's no debating that. And then he and Jen were both so funny and, like, I'm not gonna lie, really dumb. I wouldn't be shocked if they were, like, high or drunk while playing games. But then everything just went downhill after they got divorced. Pat started dating his next girlfriend, who I believe was the one that was just like a really terrible person and a gold digger. I remember a couple years back, I went to like her YouTube channel and the comments were just flooded with just like, yeah, you should, Pat, I don't remember exactly, but then he came out as an emotional and domestic abuser. I shouldn't say came out like he was gay. He was outed as an emotional and domestic abuser. And he got arrested for it multiple times. I think it was like 3 times. Then he turned to alcohol and he became an alcoholic and got arrested again. I think all of us, if you were a fan of him, have seen the Minecraft Boy video. Also, that cop was a bitch. I'm not even gonna hold you. Then he got out on parole and genuinely started to turn his life around. I remember a couple months ago, he came back on my TikTok For You page and he was just like, so I'm like 120 days sober. And originally, at the time of me writing the script, he was around like 160 to 170 days sober, and it would have stayed the same, and he was genuinely improving his life. But then, sadly, he relapsed, and I don't even have this in the script. That's how long I've been procrastinating this video, but he relapsed, and I know it's a part of it. It's a part of like the process and stuff, but I can't support him. Like, one, his past as an abuser, really shitty. Can't support him for that. And 2, he's I don't know if he's on the up or on the outs, but I hope he genuinely does get his life together. And I hope he turns around, locks in. If he comes back to content, I will not be watching it because 1, I'm a grown-ass man now. 2, I'm just not going to support somebody that I know isn't the best person. So that's why he's just a mention. I hope he gets better and he's not going to go any higher or lower. So the next mention is going to be lmao, who I don't think personally she's had any drama to my knowledge. I had no idea. I didn't do a lot of research. But with her husband, that's a whole nother story. So I know he was held back and was like 19 his senior year. And she was just entering high school and she was like 14 or 15 entering her freshman year. Now, they didn't start dating until their 20s, to my knowledge, but they were online friends and flirting for a while before that. So I don't approve of that even remotely. That's some super senior shit. But I don't think they did anything illegal, to my knowledge. lmao personally made Minecraft roleplays, which as a child, I wasn't like the most interested in, but I definitely watched them. I think everyone who was into Minecraft back then watched them. But looking back on some of her roleplays, it was just like every woman's fantasy. It was really weird. Like modern day, if you watch that, you're just going to be like, okay, yeah, there's definitely something wrong. Because it was just a love triangle. And then her husband came in and swooped her off her feet. It was really stupid. It was really dumb. Then her high school roleplay came out where it was just like wolf furry shit. She was low-key a furry, by the way. I realized that like when I was first editing this. She was a furry. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just pointing it out. But her husband was like a senior and she was a freshman in the roleplay. And it was just really weird because like you're letting children think it's okay, or not letting, but you're like kind of romanticizing the idea of dating a senior. And I'd imagine there was one person out there who going into high school is just like, oh, I'm gonna get with a senior because lmao did and he's gonna be a badass wolf boy. Cringe as shit. But like, she's only a mention because while her relationship was weird, she glorified it to her viewers who were mainly children, which is most definitely not responsible for people in high school, like going into high school to see someone online hitting on a senior, even in a role play. So It's none of my business how her relationship is, but like that was weird. That was really weird. So onto the honorable mentions. In the speaking of roleplay, I'm gonna put a newer Minecraft YouTuber who's Rexifer. So for people who like Minecraft roleplay as kids, or kids who do want to watch some Minecraft roleplay that are currently releasing, I would definitely recommend Rex first. His roleplays are funny, but also have good stories, which keep me interested. Currently, I've only watched 2 of his series, but I may watch more of his content because, oh my god, he just released the last episode of one of his roleplays. Fucking peak. I love that shit. Was it cringe? Absolutely. But will I watch more? Absolutely. So he reminds me of all the classic roleplayers like Sam Gladiator in a good way, because apparently Sam was like problematic. He didn't pay his employees or whatever, but I don't think he actually did anything bad. And lmao without the creepy shit. And he seemed like a nice dude who just likes playing Minecraft and writing stories, because in the credits for like his final episode, the finale, that motherfucker took like a little bit of everything. He did a little bit of everything. He was like a builder, obviously, voice actor, script writer. He just had his hand in everything. So what he does correctly is most definitely his voice acting. He and his crew are not afraid to destroy their throats to put the passion into their characters. Like, that motherfucker will yell at the top of his lungs just to like emphasize his rage, which really I look up to. That's good. Also, his videos are really cinematic, especially for Minecraft, with a good mix of like first person and third person. And the third person parts just look like cutscenes, like from a game. They're really high quality. I like them a lot. So if you want to get back into watching Minecraft roleplay, I would definitely recommend watching how he does it. Or I would definitely recommend watching his roleplays. But if you want to get into Minecraft roleplaying, like recording and uploading, I would recommend watching how he does it, and then branching out and doing your own thing was definitely some inspiration from him specifically. Another honorable mention somehow, some way, is Tommy in it. Now, I'm not even gonna lie. I used to hate that motherfucker with a passion. He used to be loud equals funny, which I hate, everyone hates. But once he passed the Diddy SMP, he really grew up and matured, and now his content is actually somewhat enjoyable. Like, would I watch him in my free time? No. Did I watch him for this video? Yes. And it was pretty decent. So, however, he didn't seem to be doing great, which, honestly, I'm not surprised with everything that's been outed this past year on Twitter, which I don't have. Twitter's lame. So he trusted the wrong people. So I would encourage him, as well as anyone else struggling with mental health, to take a break from social media, like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. Shouldn't have Snapchat if you're like over 18, but take a break. Do things that make you happy. Focus on yourself. Just because you're an influencer doesn't mean that you're not a person with struggles like the rest of us. So Tommy, honorable mention. I don't watch him, but I know he's a good dude. So on to number 3 for Minecraft YouTubers. I'm gonna put the entire color crew, which contains Boosphere, Kier, and Dev, mostly, not including Yellowwool's whiny, weird, lolly-loving bitch ass. So if you actually enjoy the combat part of Minecraft and the manhunts that a certain somebody started for Minecraft and haven't watched the color crew before, I would heavily recommend watching these 3, as they added their own unique spin on the manhunt genre, making them modded and adding what they call twist, which gave the runner more of an advantage over the hunters. But the thing about the twist were the hunters could figure them out and do it too, making it more balanced. So I would put them over Dritty for Minecraft Speedrunner versus Hunters, as having it modded definitely kept it fresh. You could switch it up at any time. They also worked really well in a group, and they brought in some outsiders that either made it or didn't, like Andres and Bubbo, which I think are both still relevant today. And I think they were all close friends before making channels. Don't quote me on that. I know Kier and Dev were. I don't know about Booster. Sadly, all 3 of them have not uploaded in almost a year, but they have multiple videos, I think combined like around 200, that I would recommend to anyone who has not watched them before. Boostfur is the only one that I believe currently streams on Twitch, and the reason Kira and Dev haven't uploaded was because Dev was sick for like this past year, started feeling better. They uploaded one video, let us know, and then they haven't uploaded in a while, so I'm guessing he feels sick again. I wish Kira and Dev the best, and I hope that Dev recovers. But they put their own unique spin on something that was doing well, and in my opinion, improved upon it. Sadly, it still wasn't fully original, and the ties to the original kind of weigh it down a bit, but they made it their own thing, which is why I ranked them third. Second place, I was going to put didnt because he was like one of the best Minecraft YouTubers back in the day, but like the relevance of the person who's stealing number 2 currently, it definitely earned him the number 2 spot. It's Wimbu. So Wimbu is like the PvPer you should watch on the unstable SMP. Also, this entire part is unscripted. I am so sorry. I didn't want to write anymore. But he's like the PvP guy for modern day. He's definitely the most watched, and I see a bunch of clips of him on TikTok just destroying people with the mace. He even made me get into mace PvP for a while. He definitely revived my Minecraft phase. The only critique I have is that everything he does is scripted on the unstable SMP, which I don't like scripted SMPs, especially after the Driddy SMP. But other than that, there's not much to say. He's great at PvP. Also, he even has his own fucking theme song, and it's a banger. It's such a bob. It's in my playlist. It's really fucking good, and I like that style of music. But he's great at PvP. He knows how to write comedy, I think, if he's the one that writes the script for the unstable SMP. The only downside is I really fucking hate scripted SMPs. And then moving on to number 1, I think everybody knows who this is. The king of Minecraft and the greatest PvPer in probably all of Minecraft time, Jellybean. I'm kidding. It's Technoblade. Of course it's Technoblade. Who else would it be? He's definitely most likely the greatest Minecraft YouTuber of all time, and that's not even an understatement. He brought such a unique humor to his videos, and he was so great at the game. He showed a good way to have humor without needing to insult others or be cringe. Like, yes, he insulted himself, but it was all... I don't think he was serious about any of it. He also did hella charity events, and he raised a lot of money, and he did dumb challenges for no reason. Like, he had beef with a child over potatoes for like a year and won. Realistically, he spent an unhealthy amount of time on Minecraft, but it wasn't like a huge deal. And his humor and skill are definitely something to aspire to be like if you're into Minecraft. His content was so unique because who spends a year farming potatoes or destroying in tournaments so badly? Like, he got into a 4v like everyone, teams of 4, and he was down a player, and then he still won the tournament. So he was just a great player, and he was also, on top of that, a nice dude who really loved his family. I remember watching that video with his sister. He seemed so happy to be around her. And he definitely inspired like some of the current day YouTubers, like Wimbu. I guarantee he watched Technoblade when he was younger, because I don't know how old he is, but I guarantee he inspired some of the modern day people who do Minecraft. Like, he inspires me. So who he was and what he did should be an example to YouTubers everywhere of what they should be like. Rest in peace, Technoblade. You will and are still missed. And then moving on to a very much sadder note, number 1 goes to, dishonorable mention goes to a majority of the Driddy SMP. So I'm not talking about people who were relevant before they joined the SMP, like Schlatt, Vicstar, I think Fundy. At some point, I think he was relevant beforehand. I'm talking about people who literally wouldn't be known if they had not joined the SMP. Yes, Tommy Innit fits in this, but he's definitely the most recognizable of people who were in that SMP. So I'm talking about people like Rambu, Jack Manifold, Captain Puffy, who only got popular because they joined the SMP. That's who I'm talking about. Like Captain Puffy's storyline with the egg, that was so fucking stupid. That was dumb as shit. Anyone who's carried to fame because of the SMP is only getting the dishonorable mention because their entire fame came from Sub Eddie, who's just a really shit person. So If I'm incorrect and they were popular before the SMP, I apologize for my ignorance, but to my knowledge, I know for a fact that some of them were only popular because of it. Because imagine getting your fame because somebody who likes kids invited you to join his server with a really shitty scripted storyline. And then you got the fucking trio. You got Diddy was taken, consent not found, and Wilbur shouldn't bite people. The fact that I came up with 3 of those and put them in the script is honestly insane. And there's no way that people who were close to them didn't know about it or didn't know like somewhat about it. So people close to Wilbur, I would say, is the only exception, because I believe, because everyone's seen that clip where Tommy like broke into Wilbur's house and started streaming. He seemed genuinely afraid from the clips I've seen. So that's the only exception for those 3. So not only was the story of the SMP so ass cheeks, it was just, how can I be edgy and emo and be the villain? The fact that at least one person watching this video most likely shipped Diddy and consent not found really fucking makes me sick. You don't ship like real life people without their explicit consent or unless they're dating. I know Dream was just like, oh, I don't mind if you ship us. Weird. Fuck, I'm not supposed to say that word. That guy's weird. You don't ship, you don't do that. The fan base might have been worse than the My Hero, Forsaken, and the Has Been Hotel fan base combined into one. The fact that any of these 3 mentioned still have a platform, except for Wilbur, I think he's completely off of it, is still insane to me. And everyone should just pause this and go and subscribe to them if you're still subbed. I realized I was still subbed while I was recording this. I went and unsubscribed. They're weird. So I feel bad for a majority of the SMP because, not gonna lie, looking at their channels for like even a split second glance, a majority of them have either disappeared, fell off so hard, or are depressed. Like I went to, I think it was Puffy's channel. She has not uploaded in like almost a year. That is insane. I was gonna deep dive into one of the YouTubers specifically and give them their own dishonorable mention, because they said something in like an interview or something that was obviously true about them not being made. If you figure out who it is, I'm not shit talking them because I do feel bad for them, but they said Dream didn't make them, and he did. So I was gonna deep dive into them and in a dishonorable mention, but I'm deciding not to because I looked at their channel and they're sad. So the second, but I put not really needed in the script. It's needed. It's very fucking needed. Goes to Sky Does Minecraft. He was probably the peak of the 2010s for Minecraft, and then he just fell off so fucking hard. It's insane. I'm not faulting him for wanting to see his kid. I get that. But then not only did he beat women, but then he threatened or bribed to keep them quiet. And then one of his closest friends was a fucking pedo. Like he knew that guy since high school. There's no way he didn't have some semblance of how weird he fucking was. And then he bullied Basherverse into like depression. He also was really shitty to a lot of his quote unquote friends and employees. And then when all the allegations came forward, he didn't, instead of denying them, he tried to sell his channel for like almost $1 million. And then when nobody wanted to buy it, he fucked off, and he hasn't uploaded for I think like 5 years, which good. It's disgusting to see somebody that I looked up to as a child be one of the biggest pieces of shit on the YouTube platform, and I wish I would have known somehow, but there's really no way I could have known. So if you want to be a Minecraft YouTuber, literally just be a normal person and be attracted to people your own age. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. Don't get on Snapchat. Don't get on Discord. Or you can have Discord. Just don't DM any minors. It's not that hard. Literally doing mod reviews right now would probably be insanely popular because I don't think there's anyone doing them right now. Like, go find a niche mod, record it, go through everything. Sounds great. So either just play great mods and make them entertaining, or play with people and do something like manhunts. It's not rocket science. The next category is going to be the narrator tubers, people whose main content is them talking. Okay, this next category has 5 honorable mentions because I honestly couldn't decide on who to put here because I like all these people and some of them really needed to be here. So getting started, honorable mention number 1 goes to a majority of horror or Reddit narrators, such as MK, Let's Read, or Mr. Nightmare. There's not really that much to say about these types of people besides have a nice relaxing voice and find good interesting stories. You can't really spice it up, so that's why it's the first one. Honorable mention number 2 goes to the classic animation narrators like Didnt Animation and Odd Ones Out. Putting them together because they had basically the same content and they were definitely the biggest of that content. So Jaden was entertaining and had fun life stories. I know I mentioned her earlier as a joke with the animation category, but I do genuinely think she's a good YouTuber. But eventually you run out of life to talk about, and she hasn't though. Honestly, she's done collabs with AlphaRad. She won the Mr. Beast thing. She's doing great, so good for her. Classic Odd Ones Out was peak with the Subway and the shit around there. However, current Odd Ones Out doesn't even animate his own videos anymore, apparently, and he made a really, really bad cartoon. I haven't watched it, but I heard it was awful. No hate towards him, but still. It's a double feature because I didn't know if they should go into animation or narration, but they weren't good enough for animation to be in that category besides an honorable mention, and they were more narrators than anything, so I put them here. In order to be like them, you'd both be able to need to be able to draw and have an interesting life if you wanted to be like them. Honorable mention number 3 is going to be Zacko Builds, who narrates Minecraft ARGs. If you're on the Minecraft side of TikTok, like at all, or the Minecraft side of the internet, you probably heard there were 2 kids in the house. This was from a kind of ARG, but not really, that Zacko Builds made. And he created a whole story about a child who was live streaming their Minecraft world and adding hidden things in it to show that they were kidnapped and to give their location out to whoever was watching the stream. Not only was this extremely creative, but it was so entertaining. I've watched that video like 5 times. It's so good. I'm not going to spoil anything else because you should really go watch it yourself if you haven't already. And he's very persistent. His old content was just like basic Minecraft stuff, like teaching you how to build, but then he found the formula that worked for him, which was the ARGs, and he stuck to it. He went from averaging like 15,000 views, which is still a lot, don't get me wrong, and now in this past year, not a single one of his videos has under 1 million views. That's really what YouTube is all about, finding what you're good at, and then what people like, and then making it. He would have been higher up, but I feel like people would get mad at me if I put a Minecraft narrator in the top 3, which I get. Honorable mention number 4 is going to be Mossbag. If you haven't played or if you have played or watch Hollow Knight or Silksong content, you probably come across a Mossbag video. I would say for sure he is the Hollow Knight lore guy, because when Matpat tried to do it, he was so wrong and people shamed him for it, which was mean, but he was really wrong. But Mossbag is really unique with his narration because he's like never serious throughout any of his videos, but he does a great job at describing everything. His videos dive deep into the actual lore of the games and books, whatever content Hollow Knight has, but he's never serious about any of it, which keeps it really refreshing. I like the jokes that he puts in it. No offense to anyone who does more like serious lore, I just really like Mossbag's style and the jokes that he puts in it. Also, his videos are like the perfect length, and he goes from the very beginning to the end of the lore, which just puts everything in a beautiful line that's really easy to understand, even if you've never touched the game before. And then while editing, this was originally number 3, but I moved it down because number 3 and number 2 were basically the same thing. So honorable mention number 5 is going to go to CinemaSins. CinemaSins is basically my way to watch a movie without having to sit through 2 hours of the movie. They critique the movie, but most of the sins they do are joking sins, which I really like. If there really is an aspect of the movie that deserves real critiquing, then they do call them out properly, and they also talk about any plot lines that don't make sense or obvious mistakes in the movies. One of my personal favorites of theirs is the Paranormal Activity movies, because those movies are so bad and they shut on them accordingly. I also like how if there's an aspect of a movie that was genuinely great, they'll remove a sin. They're not afraid to like take something back because there was a great moment in it. The reason why they're an honorable mention is because sometimes they're just sinning to sin, and it annoys me. For example, on almost every single movie, the first couple of sins is the opening credits. Every single movie has opening credits. It's like universal. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, I'm sorry. But I think they're great for little movie reviews, but overall, shouldn't be taken seriously for how good a movie actually is. But they're still a great watch. And then finally, for the top 3, we have at number 3, Dead Meat James. He was originally number 2, but I feel as of recent, the new number 2 deserved the spot a little bit more. So Dead Meat does the kill counts, which I think a majority of the internet has seen. Not only is it really high effort, because who wants to count every single zombie kill in a movie? I love that. I love the Zombieland one. It's so great. But also, it's an honor to the film, because most films that James counts, he loves and enjoys watching. And if he doesn't, he lets you know off the bat that he hates it. Not only that, but also he doesn't just like be this guy died here, this guy died here, that's 2. But he goes through the entire story of the movie from start to finish, giving a summary of the movie and counting kills along the way. He and his team put a lot of effort into every video, and the humor and little bits they add into the video goes a long way. They've also started doing video game kill counts, which I'm all for, because I don't want to sit through 8 hours of Mortal Kombat gameplay just to remember the story. Also, people hate on Soren, but he's low-key just as good as James. I'm going to say that 3 and 2 can definitely be interchangeable, because as I was writing the script, I'm wanting Dead Meat higher up, but I feel like number 2 deserved its spot. Moving on to number 2, I lied. I did put a Minecraft narrator in the top 3. Suck it. It's Weefies. Weefies at number 2. The reason why I put him above James is because as of recently, Weefies has been hitting banger after banger on ARGs or other types of videos. His World That Doesn't Exist video has done numbers, and it's probably the most popular ARG out there right now, which he made. He made that entire thing, like 3 hours of footage of Darelord. So good. Literally, if you're looking for good background noise or just a good entertaining watch, go watch it. I've watched it like 5 times and I still like it a lot. His other videos are just as good, and they don't even have to be RGs. I like both of his AI escape room videos, and they're so good and entertaining, and they make for great content. Also, the way that he structures his videos is also amazing. I know having a Minecraft YouTuber this high in narration will probably get me executed on Reddit or whatever, but he definitely deserves it. He's a great YouTuber, and I like it. And then number 1, of course, is Matthew Patrick, which, real quick, I didn't know that was his actual name. I thought it was a joke. I don't know what I thought Matpat stood for, but it was not Matthew Patrick. Anyways, the GOAT of narrators, and that's just indisputable. He and Mark probably carried FNAF to where it is now just by the 2 of them alone. If Matpat didn't exist, a majority of video games would literally just be like, oh, this game's fun, and there's nothing deeper about this. It's just a normal game. Like deadass, he's done lore for like everything, and a good chunk of the time he's right, and if he isn't, he'll admit that, like he did with the Hollow Knight stuff. The amount of research he would have to do for each and every theory was just insane, and he's probably sleep deprived as hell most of the time. He helped out indie games like Poppy Playtime, Hello Neighbor, even though it's dead, and Bendy get popularized with his theories. He's even done shit on mobile games, which is low-key really good. I fuck with the mobile game lore. Also, it's not even entirely games that he's done. He did games, films, food, and fashion. Like, is he not the most fashionable man you've ever seen? But for real, Matpat had such a huge role in almost everything from 2010 to 2023 when he retired. At least I think it was 23. It might have been 24. One of my personal favorites is Petscop, which sadly, Matpat won't ever finish that, but it was really good. And if whoever does, I think it might just be on Game Theory, but whoever does that, I hope they get back into it. I love Petscop. And he dove deep into the story and found things nobody would ever find. Like, how the hell am I going to put together that movement is synced across 2 different videos on my own? Matpat was a great YouTuber and is definitely deserving of all the fame and fortune that comes to him. And if he ever does come back to YouTube, I know he'll still be on his throne. If you want to be like Matpat, you have to deep dive, like deep dive, and look into every little thing that you can find in whatever form of media you choose. You got to be able to keep track of so much lore and stuff, you'll probably have a brain aneurysm. You also got to be smart. It's just, that's the simplest way I can word it, because you have to know what cipher goes where, what Morse code translates into what. You have to be able to count how many toes and fingers something has to see if it's the same animatronic or if it's a new one. There's just a lot of effort you would have to put into it. You also got to be good at narrating, which he was great at. And the only dishonorable mention that I could think of, and it's not even really dishonorable mention, but Corpse Husband, He stopped doing what he was known for, which isn't a bad thing. I like how he branched out with Among Us, and then he went into music as well. I never listened to it, but I don't know if it was good or bad. He had a nice voice and he was a good reader, but he stopped. Just keep doing what you're good at unless you don't enjoy it anymore, which he might not have. And then what you need to succeed in the narration category is the ability to read clear and concisely to your audience. Having nice visuals in the background would also help you immensely with your content, just keeping people captivated, whether that be animation, stuff to help you emphasize a point, or just background gameplay like Subway Surfers. It helps keep the audience's attention. Another thing is that a majority of the narrators are the most passionate people that I've seen on YouTube, or at least the ones I picked, which really adds to their content for me, because I know a lot of people don't like to talk for long amounts of time, but these guys do it effortlessly, and I can only imagine all the takes and retakes that they have to do to read perfectly without any stutters, which I will never do. I already struggle with reading enough. The last, and certainly worst, category is going to be the Twitch tubers. These are people who primarily stream on Twitch, but also upload their Twitch streams or whatever to YouTube. These people are, in my opinion, the worst on the internet, and I'll explain why real quick. So, many of these people have little to no practical life skills, and they show that in their streaming. Like, yes, most of Twitch is good at video games or whatever, but outside of that, what do they really have to offer in terms of skill? I'm talking specifically about the people who, if they didn't make it on Twitch, would be bagging my fries at McDonald's. And the Twitch viewers are almost as bad as the streamers. Because what do you mean you send $500 to your streamer just for her to write your name on a whiteboard? Twitch is literally like the worst video platform, and there's so much more I could say, but I'll save it for later. So first for honorable mentions is Disguised Toast. His Among Us content definitely like kept the game going, and his modded videos were really good. That's about it. Like, that's the only thing that I wrote in the script and the only thing I can think of, other than his thumbnails make me angry. But that's about it. Second honorable mention I'm going to give to Astral Spiff. So I'm actually re-recording this because I feel like the first time I read it, I didn't do him enough justice, because he's definitely my top watched and favorite YouTuber as of late. I really enjoy his content. He's definitely like personally my favorite Twitch streamer and the only one that I would watch, but I feel like putting him at number one is a little cliche because it is opinion, but I also do put some facts in here. But if you don't know, Astral Spiff is a speedrunner who for the most part runs FNAF games, or like FNAF fan games, and what I would say he's best known for is his challenge videos. Like, he beat Security Breach without running or jumping, and then he beat Ruin, I think, doing the both at the same time. Then he has his FNAF game speedrun, in which he plays every single FNAF game back to back to back with no breaks. I think the first one he did took him like 16 or 17 hours, and that's some dedication. He does the challenges in video games really well. Probably the best out of everyone I've seen, actually. I also really like that he's inside jokes with his chat, which are funny, and that's like the best type of streamer to be, in my opinion. And also, you don't even gotta watch his streams to get the inside jokes most of the time. Like, he includes the context, or he tells the context. If you like longer videos, I highly recommend his channel, and if you're into FNAF or speedrunning, I recommend it even harder. Like I said, I would have put him in the top 3, but 1, I'm lazy, and 2, I don't feel like changing the script anymore. But he's a great YouTuber. I highly recommend going and watching him if you don't already. Third is going to be Michael Reeves, which I'm low-key iffy on because I have no idea how often or if he streams, but on YouTube he's just chaotic and funny, and he builds weird shit, but it's like cool weird shit. He's built laser tag guns that fucking electrocute you if you get hit. He built a remote control surgical machine that you can control with one hand, and it like takes it to, he taped a knife to it and then just stabbed the fuck out of a mannequin head. It was cool as shit. He built a baby that shoots lasers out of its eyes. He's literally the definition of talent in the hands of a jester, because he's only using his powers for evil. Literally only evil. Also, I went to his channel while I was writing the script. He let a fish invest in stocks. He's just insane, and he records it and makes whatever he wants. Also, if a guy as insane as Michael can be one of the best boyfriends I've seen on the internet, nobody has any excuses. He and his girlfriend have the typical couple dynamic where they shit on each other, but they still really love each other. But, like, if you want to be like him, just say whatever comes to your mind and learn to build probably shit that will be illegal in the very near future. And have a really weird obsession with tasers. Number 2 would probably be Queso, which is wild because I've never watched a single Queso stream or a video. I still know he's funny as fuck. I would put a picture of him up here, but I think my monitor would break and then the entire thing would be ruined. He takes something that a majority of people are insecure about and embraces it. I don't know if it's him or his chat that's funnier because they come up with some of the most vile but hilarious shit to call him. He even keeps his PlayStation messages on and people shit on him through them, and they are the most creative and cruel things I've ever seen, but they're so funny. Also, he's just a nice dude who can take a joke. Like, if you want to be Queso, gain 10,000 pounds and wear a hoodie all the time, but really just have a good relationship with your chat and be able to take and give a joke and be able to break a lot of stuff, mostly chairs. And then finally, the number 1 streamer is absolutely I Show Meat. So this one goes, I feel like it goes without saying because he's just funny and like outside of his streams, he's a good dude. While he is very loud and really like impulsive, he does it in the best way possible. He's good at games, which makes him entertaining, but when he's losing or doing bad, you'll know. You'll absolutely know because he'll yell or break something or whip his meat out. He's also the only Twitch streamer I've seen that actually makes good music. Like, listen to this shit. And he's created many trends and memes just by being himself. Also, he went to Japan and everyone loved him there, and I low-key don't blame him. W Speed. I wouldn't recommend being like Speed because the last guy that tried got called White Speed and now isn't really on anything like Twitch, YouTube. Again, I cannot stress this enough. Don't copy somebody else's content because 9 times out of 10, you won't succeed. However, Speed is something a lot of current Twitch streamers and YouTubers don't. Natural humor. I don't believe he upplays any of his reactions and just genuinely lacks impulse control, but the crash shouts are funny and people love that. I haven't watched a single Speed stream and I still find myself like watching compilations or funny moments from them whenever they pop up on my For You page or if I see them on YouTube. If you want to be like Speed, just have good, genuine reactions to what you're doing. And if you're not naturally expressive, then another category has to fit you better, most likely. Also, wear a belt. Make sure you don't show your meat on stream. And then now, onto the dishonorable mentions. And holy shit. There's so many options that this first honorable mention will be a little speed run on the less notable, like the less bad streamers, but they're still notable. First, we have Fedmeister, who's on the offline TV, which is like a house full of YouTubers. Dumb idea, by the way. But then he got kicked out for being a creep and low-key being a predator to some of his housemates. Then, funnily enough, we got Pokimane, whose viewers consist of grown-ass men who only watch her because they find her attractive, because I can bet that her gameplay is not that good. And she said the N-word and still somehow didn't get canceled because of fucking pretty privilege or whatever. Then 3, we have Dr. Disrespect, who, thinking he was a real pediatrician, messaged with a minor and then got caught for it. Then another I can think of off my head is Low Tier God, who's a deadbeat father and talk to minors. And the only reason I'm not giving him his own personal mention is because I really don't have any idea who he is outside of this shit. And he hasn't been relevant since like 2020. Then you got Ray and Reikai, who Reikai is definitely the worst of the two. But they're both still bad, and I group them together because they're really similar. Because they're just mini versions of fucking Kaisenat. But also, I think Ray does genuinely, like, fake a bit of his accent or, like, makes it stronger than it actually is. But I don't know. I only speak English, so I don't know how accents are in other languages. So that's just a little thing. And then the first solo dishonorable mention has to go to Hassan, of course, the strongest dog shocker of today. I've never watched a Hassan stream, and I didn't even know he existed until he shocked his dog, but I still think that's enough to get him his own mention. Animal abuse isn't something that should be taken lightly, and not only that, but she didn't even do anything. She got a foot off the bed, and then he shocked her, and then lied about it to his entire Twitch stream and tried to hide it. Do I think some dogs need shock collars? Yes, only if they're aggressive. And that's the only reason why I think that they would actually need a shock collar. But she stepped a foot off the bed and got shocked for it. That was just so you could keep her on stream for the fucking views. Plus, the fact that he lied about it as well is also just really shitty to me. There's nothing wrong with having a shock collar on your dog if they are aggressive, but then shocking them for no reason as well and then lying about it just means you know you fucked up and you're trying not to get canceled. And then anyone who defended Hassan, looking at Valkyrie, can also basically be in this dishonorable mention as well. Dishonorable mention number 2 is going to the Gooner streamer e-girls. Now, there is nothing wrong with being a woman on Twitch. Shit, I think a majority of female streamers are better than the male ones. But the ones who genuinely offer nothing to their channel but their body or looks just pisses me off. You're not a Twitch streamer at that point, you're just an e-prostitute. Begging for money from 35-year-old men who still live in their mother's basements is just some bottom feeder type shit. Then you got the VTubers, which I will admit, some are actually good. I've seen the clips of VTuber soccer. That shit was actually sick as fuck, I will not lie. Others, however, just increase the boob size or ass size of their model or put on a little ooh voice until all the gooners and otakus join their stream. That shit's just, you're as bad as your viewers at that point. And then dishonorable mention number 3 goes to Miskiff. Yeah, don't think I forgot about this fucking Angry Bird looking motherfucker. This guy is probably the biggest loser on Twitch, at least right now. His ex-girlfriend, Imaru, was recently at like TwitchCon or something when a disgusting ass fan came up to her line and kissed her without consent. And security did nothing. They didn't arrest the guy, they didn't detain him, they did fucking nothing. Now, I don't have any idea how Imaru streams, but I know she cosplays a lot, and that's literally all the knowledge I have about her, but that doesn't seem as bad. Or that doesn't seem bad at all. And then after this, she basically said, fuck it. Fuck everyone. Fuck Twitch. Fuck Miskiff. And he outed Miskiff for all the shitty things he did during their relationship, like how he was abusive, how he would like put holes in walls, and then he threatened to ruin her career if she came out with all the shit. First of all, that has to be the most cowardice shit I have heard in my life. Threatening to ruin somebody's career because you were a shitty boyfriend? Fucking insane. Then his response was to try and make it seem like both of them were abusive because she would throw stuffed animals and clothes at me. Yeah, that's deadass what he fucking said. So let me get this straight real quick. In his mind, him hitting her, possibly, I don't know if he actually did, and punching holes in walls, I do know that he did that, is equal to getting hit by a soft object. Yeah, that checks out and makes a lot of fucking sense. And then dishonorable mention number 3 goes to Kai Cenat. I literally have no idea how anybody enjoys any of his fucking content. It's literally just him going, chat, should I do this? Or chat, should I do that? Or chat, is he re right now? He's the main reason that kids today use chat unironically, being like, chat, am I cooked? Or that type of shit. Also, you can't talk about Kai without talking about the Begathon. Now, if you do not know, Kai has a thing called Mafiathon, in which you donate him money, it increases the stream timer by a set amount. Not only is that a really shitty way to get money, but also why the fuck are people donating to that shit? Like, I could deadass go out on the street and people watch for free instead of people watching while paying for it. For a majority of his streams, they're doing fucking nothing, and you're paying to keep that shit going? That's geeked. That's insane. Deadass, I think it would work better if people donated him money to decrease the timer instead. Start at 24 hours, donate money, go down until it ends. In the third Mafiathon, Kai had to eat each like $5 equal 3 seconds onto the stream. Then when the fucking idiots of the world ran out of money or figured out that, oh, this shit boring as fuck, they stopped donating Kai, and then he basically began to beg his chat for money. Like, chat, donate or the stream's gonna end. He even got so desperate to keep the stream going that he did a power hour in which all donations gave double the time. That's gotta be the lamest shit I have ever seen on the internet. Not only that, but his main thing is bringing in special guests to his streams like Kevin Hart or the NPC Spider-Man guy. And I can bet that they no longer talk to him or don't answer his text or whatever. Cause like, I remember seeing a clip of Kevin Hart like leaving early because they were just so fucking geek. And Drewski, me riding Kevin Hart, geeked that insane shit. I'm gonna get sidetracked real quick as well, but these fucking pests have absolutely decreased the IQ of a majority of this fucking generation who have watched their streams because they're the main one of the brain rot shits. Phantom taxing was never funny. I don't know why people thought it was. Not only that, but some of the guests Kai has brought on his streams have said outright slurs and he had to turn off the stream. the only reason I believe that they said the slur was because when the cameras are off, Kai has no issue with it. This happened not once, but twice. One of them was the R word, and then the other one was the F word. You should never use the F word in any content or context, but if you're going to use the R word, make it like Vanoss, where it's funny. It's more funny than it is offensive, because that's the only way that offensive humor works. Like when Drewski did Whiteface, people found it more funny than it was offensive. Then you have fucking Streamer University, where Kai taught people how to stream after they paid for it. How stupid do you have to be to pay for lessons on how to stream from someone that barely knows how to stream themselves? Then when the university, I think one time when the university was supposed to start, a fight or something broke out, and then Kai kicked everyone out. Not only was his fan base so stupid and violent that they couldn't last a single day in a school, but they paid Kai and then instantly got kicked out, and I bet they lost all that fucking money. In my opinion, y'all made the wrong person famous with Kai, and the guests he brings on the show are the only reason people still watch him, because he's ass at video games. That one animation of him playing Elden Ring where the fucking boss killed himself, accurate. That's accurate. He's dog water at video games. I had to pause real quick to look up what this chick did because I wasn't 100% sure, but my brother mentioned it to me and I was just like, yeah, she needs to be here. So finally, you got Nina Lynn, who was banned off Twitch twice and still somehow got unbanned. Her first ban was because she SA'd one of, I think, her crew members on stream while another girl named Zoe Spencer restrained him. Not only was she banned for 1 day, but then she got banned again for shoplifting on stream. First of all, you're a semi-successful Twitch streamer. Why the hell are you stealing? And second, what the fuck is wrong with Twitch to only unban her after 1 day? She should have been permabanned. I think she is permabanned now after the shoplifting thing. That is insane. And then I saw a clip on XUC's channel where she was making fun of like her getting banned for SAing that dude, because she was talking to this other dude. She's just like, can I touch you? Will you use this clip against me 3 weeks from now? Have some shame. Be ashamed of yourself. Know you did fucking wrong and admit to it. And I guarantee her apology or whatever she posted on Twitter was also shitty. I hate Twitch. Literally the entire app could be deleted, and I bet our world would be better for it. If you want to succeed as a Twitch streamer, you need to be consistent and build up a good relationship with your chat. That's probably the most important part of it. The more people you have in chat, the easier and easier it gets, and the more popular you'll get. With more people, you can talk to them more often, leaving little to no silence in your streams. And something I heavily recommend is to create inside jokes with your chat that first timers won't get, and then they'll just be like, maybe I'll get this if I ask, and then it'll entice them to ask, and then they'll have to stay to learn what it means. A majority of Twitch streamers rely on Twitch to live, which is why they double it with YouTube. Don't be one of those people. Living on donations to live is kind of sad, and it could easily ruin your life if you get canceled, fall off, or something like that. And then they're basically like homeless people without the homelessness. Like, they're begging for money. That's just sad to me. And that's all I got for you today on the top 5 categories of YouTube and how you could become good at them. If you learned anything from this video, remember me when you're famous, and don't do what a lot of YouTubers these days like to do and talk to minors. I wish you all the best. Merry Christmas. Have a good day. Bye.